Straight ahead.
I can't tell you what to do with your hands either, Reem. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
It's afternoon.
Good afternoon, Iowa soccer supporters. Thank you to our guest, Matt Ream, who's here sitting in the middle between myself and my co-host, Blake Sievers.
Interrupted our traditional intro. Your spot, Ben.
You guys can mail the check to my house.
What's your address? For our listeners.
It's on Walnut Street somewhere in the East Village. I can't remember.
Yeah, good. Okay, so we're here at the state soccer tournament, day 2, Thursday, June 3rd, preparing to watch the 3A semifinals. We're here to watch Blake's Drags take on the Pleasant Valley. What do we know what's their mascot?
Trojans.
The Trojans? Really? I thought
Spartans. No, it's the Spartans.
Spartans, okay. Because then on the other field, we've got the Iowa City West Trojans taking on my Valley Tigers. I'll probably be taking a walk over there here in a little bit to catch that first half here shortly. So anyway, we're here. What do you think, Siebes? It's 2A games. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to break down the Bondurant DCG game now, or are we doing that at the end of the night?
Let's do it now.
Okay. So myself, Matt Ream, we kind of sat here and watched Ream. We got to think of a nickname for him. But we watched Bondurant take on DCG in the Central Iowa Affair in 2A, which honestly was the best game of the tournament so far.
Yeah, it was a good game. DCG went down 3-1.
Well, we got to talk like from kickoff through the first half. Give it the
so DCG scored a penalty kick. Was that the first goal?
Nope. So
Matt Ream was watching.
I was watching it.
So Oscar White scores a goal for Bondurant to go up 1-0. And then Bickford wins a penalty, a handball, which was on the opposite side of us. And we watched
alleged handball.
Yes, and we talked to Matt Cox, Bondurant coach, at halftime. Asked him about it. So if you're curious what his answer exactly was, jump into our stories on Instagram. But he said he couldn't see it either, but nobody argued, so he assumed it was a penalty. And Bickford scored it, didn't he?
Very comfortably slotted in far post.
And then
so that brought things back to 1-1. Correct.
In the first 20 minutes, DCG was on the front foot. I think, Matt, we were sitting here talking about it. Definitely had a lot of the ball. They hit the crossbar. They hit the post. They were clearly, I think, the better team. I think fair to say.
Yeah, they had a couple other chances too that missed the goal, but a lot of the game was on the far side of the field from where we were sitting, and it definitely looked like they were in control. And then it changed a little bit. I don't know how much you want me to expand on this, but I think DCG had some challenges with the sort of direct physical nature of Bondurant. Their center backs looked a little uncomfortable when the ball was in the air, and number 10 on Bondurant, number 9, and I think it was 23 were pretty effective running on to the ball in behind and competing for balls in the air in front.
There were some big boys. I wouldn't have wanted to be a center back in that game.
Yes, I mean, Bondurant kind of they played off like a 4-4-2. They had Caleb Geimer Jr. up top to start with Oscar White, who those boys both played in the mini pitch futsal event. But then they rotated the freshman Titus Cram in. So they basically rotated three boys up front. And like you said, Ben, some big boys that were strong, powerful, technical. Like Oscar White did a few Cruyffs and whatnot, but created a lot of problems, like you said, Matt. And it was interesting, Bondurant's tactics when they played direct. It wasn't the prettiest, but they created the most problems for DCG and the goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper and the center backs. And there was a couple of miscommunications there in the back that caused, maybe it didn't create a goal, but caused some panic there for a little bit.
Definitely.
So it was 1-1. And then going into halftime, and it was actually right in front of us, Bondurant played a ball to the left winger, Zach Klein, who's going to be talked about, I'm sure, here shortly. But I got on the end of it and played what we both thought was like a questionable ball. He cut it back, but he cut it back almost to the top of the 18 to Oscar White. And we both, I think, Matt, right? We both said, oh, this is going to be trouble because he was able to get on the end of it. We thought he could. He did. Cut it back, like we said, or thought too far because I don't know if he really looked up. And Oscar White was on his left foot. He cut it to his right and absolutely smashed one to the top corner. leaving the DCG goalkeeper no chance with less than a minute to go in the first half.
That's one of our big talking points we like to chirp on is first 5, last 5, and that was a no-no for the DCG group there.
Yeah, I think it ended up being a good ball, and I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but DCG had 4 or 5 guys that were recovering, and I think they all overran the ball because it was cut back so far, and then when the first touch came in, they still had to recover forward to put pressure on the ball, and they weren't able to do that, and then he absolutely crushed it. I mean, keeper didn't even get his hands up.
Yeah, so we go into halftime. We got to definitely thank Matt Cox, our now new friend at Bondurant. We've talked to him 3 times now this year, and then Colin Lane gave us some time as well at halftime. And it was interesting. We talked a little bit about what their changes were, if any, and obviously Bondurant they weren't going to sit back. They were going to keep going forward, which may have ultimately hurt them a little bit because as we get into the second half, we can talk about how DCG came back a little bit.
Well, and that didn't happen before Bondurant kind of decided to make it 3-1, right? So don't forget that. It was 3-1 by the time there were about 25 minutes left.
So Titus Cram scores a goal, which, again, far end, and there's definitely some debate amongst our guys in the kick it forward tent because somebody thought it was a penalty. Or,
it was a great little build-up.
Yeah, it was a great, but then Titus Cram, somebody thought they looked like he went through the back of a defender sliding. I thought he got pulled down. I think, Reem, you thought he went through the back of the defender.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he was probably 120 yards away, so it was really difficult to tell exactly what happened. The way I interpreted it was that he slid in to win the ball, basically through the goalkeeper and the defender. But I think you thought maybe he was sliding because he had gotten pulled down. So it was really, really hard to tell again. But the referee allowed the goal, and that was 3-1 at that point. So
a little foreshadowing because we know the penalties come in pairs. And I know that's not what we were talking about, but that was essentially where we're going to go. We forgot to mention that before, Seabruce, the penalties come in pairs piece.
I was going to bring it up here in a little bit because, you said foreshadowing.
You guys did keep mentioning it the entire time after that first one was given. So
3-1, DCG on, struggling. They get a second one back through their freshman, actually, number 8, Wesley Kabamba. And then they got the momentum. The crowd was, sideline to sideline or corner flag to corner flag, packed full of DCG guys and Bondurant guys, supporters. He scores a second. Interesting, they don't pick the ball up and go back, but they get it. And then they score a third through Bickford. Scores a good little goal as well.
Yeah, it was a good goal. It was a little kind of through ball. I've not seen Bickford run that fast ever, but he outran the defender, and then I think it was left-footed. Was it not left-footed far corner? Just slided away, and was pretty excited about that. So
again, on the front foot, DCG, they had all the momentum there in the second half as they went 3-3 tied. We got Rick Isaacson walking past us to check out the next game. But 3-3. And again, the crowd's now going crazy. Everybody's getting into it. And we end up in extra time.
But it wasn't very much extra time, was it?
Not enough extra time.
It wasn't. It was interesting, too. Bondurant. So Bondurant started freshman Titus Cram, who assisted on the first goal, and big Oscar White. And within, I'm trying to think, 3-4 minutes, there was, I'm going to call it out.
It was the first minute.
It was the first minute.
It was 57 seconds.
That's right. It was less than a minute.
Yeah.
A questionable penalty. And Zach Klein won the penalty, which let's talk about it. Well, because that's definitely, that's ultimately the point, whether people like it or not. That definitely is a talking point. And it happened right in front of us.
So the referee, he was certain, right? There was he didn't even really think about it twice.
Right away, yep.
Yeah, and it looked just a little bit like incidental contact, not a foul you would have called in the midfield. And the attacking player, I don't want to say he went down easy, but it was just contact. It wasn't a foul.
Yeah, he went down hard, and I think what had happened is, I think it was DCG's number 5 or 3. I can't remember who their right back was, and he had won the ball, and Zach Klein had stepped in front of him and almost impeded his progress. The referee didn't see it that way, and he was very, very quick to point to the spot.
Yeah, and to be fair to Zach Klein, coolly, calmly, collectively finish the penalty side foot, sends Bondurant through to the final against Xavier.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's where they'll take on Xavier. So despite all that drama here, it sounds like from, a lot of times it's funny what you can hear from another field. It sounded like it was a pretty straightforward game over there. 2-0 win for the Xavier Saints over Adel.
Yeah, I mean, you got the traditional powerhouse Xavier. So, again, like you said, Ben, not much of a surprise. And so we got the East-West battle, or East-Central battle, however you want to phrase it, for the 2H final on Saturday.
Yeah, right on. That'll be a really interesting matchup. I think I don't know anything about the Saints, but we'll be here, I'm sure, watching with Charlie Bales on Saturday. I'm really curious to see how Bondurant does in that game because, they just have proven a couple times in a row now that they're up for the challenge.
Yeah, so as we're talking, Sam McClintock, Bondurant's central midfielder, had a concussion in the quarterfinal, which he didn't play today. But I thought number 6 was actually pretty dynamic. Austin Cruz, sophomore, filled in and was definitely made his name and known. But as we talk,
speaking of sounds, Field 9 sounds like we got a little goal for the home team, which would be Iowa City West. So 1-0 Iowa City West over the Tigers, which is a great time to segue into the Class 3A semifinal round that we're about to watch. So we've got behind us Johnston taking on Pleasant Valley, and then across the way at Field 9, like we said, Iowa City West taking on my Valley Tigers.
And Iowa High School Association get these semifinals on fields next to each other for environment, for atmosphere, get off the stadium field, bring it over to 6 and 7.
Yeah,
Come on, Chris.
The thing that's funny about it too is that as a result of when the fields are close, just more and more people come watch. So anyway, so we're getting ready to maybe shift gears here, but before we go, let's just touch base with Matt Ream one more time. So Matt, you've played against the Valley Tigers as the Roosevelt head coach. You've played against the Johnston Dragons as the Roosevelt head coach. Did you see Pleasant Valley or Iowa City West?
We did not. We did not play against any teams from the east side of the state. This year we played predominantly teams from central Iowa. We did spend time on the field with Valley. I don't know if we played them really. They beat us
that game
7-1.
Okay.
After 71 seconds, we gave up our first goal. But we did play Johnston. I thought we competed with them. Both those teams are fairly direct. They rely on some of their key players. Valley, of course, Jaron Obaya. And, with Johnston, it's Wilmot Manna. Both very dynamic attacking players. So it'll be interesting to see if, Pleasant Valley and Iowa City West can shut those guys down. And right now it looks like Iowa City West is doing that job just fine. So.
Yeah, well, we'll be here taking in all the action. We'll be live on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all that fun stuff. And again, Siebes, you want to give our plug to our sponsor of the state tournament this weekend?
Yeah, we got Keener Zener PLC.
It's a tough one to say.
It is, but best law firm in Des Moines and honestly best law firm in Iowa in the region. So if you guys, anybody needs help, legal help, really doesn't matter. They cover a lot of things. If they can't help you, they can recommend you and refer you to some people. Reasonable rates. Check them out at zenerkeenerplc.com.
You'd think that this guy's been in a lot of legal trouble because he seems to know all about it. Anyway, so thanks again to Rough Riders coach Matt Ream. Siebes, are you getting the butterflies right now?
I'm ready to go. Let's end this up. Let's wrap it up. And Johnston, Pleasant Valley ready to kick off.
Okay, roll drags for you, Siebes.
Roll drags.
Later, guys.